All right, moving on. First Lady-elect Melania Trump made an unexpected appearance in Maryland court today as part of her defamation lawsuit against blogger Webster, Tarpley, and the Daily Mail. In September, Trump sued both outlets after they published reports claiming she had worked as a high-end escort. Her lawyers claim that these allegations were completely false and incredibly damaging to her reputation. Joining me now to discuss this case is CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. I'm excited to talk about this case.
I know. This is really interesting. So she is, for her to win this lawsuit, right, her legal team has to prove that Webster, Tarpley, and the Daily Mail knew the information was false, and they published it to hurt Trump's reputation. So what kind of protections does the First Amendment give in these cases to the defendant?
Vlad, a lot of people will be surprised to know the First Amendment gives enormous protections to the things that are said and written about public figures, especially the people that govern us. And unfortunately for Melania Trump, the Supreme Court has consistently upheld those protections, even when what was written or said was a mistake. But the Supreme Court says that it should be an honest mistake. And here Melania Trump is arguing that this was not an honest mistake.
So why does Melania Trump as a public figure have less protection from defamation than, for example, a private citizen? Explain the legalities behind that.
They want to encourage discourse about our leaders, about public figures. They want people to be able to speak freely without fear of retribution. But of course, many people are in fact offended by things that other people say about them, and sometimes that winds up in court. And when it's private citizens, the court will hear those cases. But their argument is when it comes to public figures, that those public figures already have a platform where they can defend themselves. So if you are the president or you're a high-profile athlete, if someone says something that's not true, you can hold a press conference. We'll be there. We'll listen. And so the courts have said, look, you can handle this on your own. You don't need us to hash out each and every one of these things that offend you.
Now, it's interesting. The Daily Mail is obviously an English newspaper. In the United States, the burden of proof rests with the person who brings the claim of libel, or in this case, Melania Trump, I guess, right? In the UK, the burden of proof is generally with reporters. They have to show and prove that what they're writing or saying is true.
Exactly. The United States is one of the hardest places for people to actually win these defamation lawsuits, particularly when you are occupying or about to occupy the White House. It's extremely rare for anyone of that level, some of those public people in the land here in the U.S., to actually prevail on a defamation lawsuit.
And Paula, back in November, former wrestler Hulk Hogan won a very big defamation lawsuit against Gawker Media over a sex tape that they published. He then went on to win the lawsuit. A lot of people were surprised about that. It meant that Gawker essentially went away. They were not able to afford the money that the court awarded to Hulk Hogan. Does that case in any way set a precedent that might help Melania Trump's chances here?
It's fascinating. The cases are very much connected. First and foremost, Hulk Hogan and Melania Trump had the same lawyer. But the cases are different in that Hulk Hogan's sex tape, it's very hard to argue that there is a compelling public interest for us to know about Hulk Hogan's sex life. Even in his heyday as one of the most famous men in the country, it would have been very hard to really win on that argument. It's very different from the careers and the day-to-day goings-on for the first family. But they are similar in that case really illustrated, Vlad, if you've got the money to drag your opponent or someone you don't like or saying things you don't like through a long and lengthy court battle, that could be a deterrent to other people, small bloggers, big bloggers, people who don't have the resources to defend themselves. And I think that's part of the strategy here. Even if she knows she can't win on the merits, this could serve as a deterrent to other outlets not to publish negative or false information about her.
And I think that's what is fascinating about the Hogan case and this one as well, Paula. In that case, it turned out that Peter Thiel, a Silicon Valley mogul, was helping fund the efforts to attack Gawker Media. And in this case, now I'm surprised to hear that they have the same lawyer. Melania Trump has the same lawyer. The Trump, especially the president-elect, is known to be litigious. I wonder if that will carry over into his presidency, because I mean, forget Silicon Valley money. You've got the president of the United States and the full weight of his office who decides to sue somebody. What does that mean for the future?
Well, we saw today, Melania Trump, she's a smart cookie. She flexed a little bit of that muscle today by showing up at what is a routine scheduling hearing. Clients don't show up to those.
Right, she was there, yeah.
She was there. She came, she met the judge, she met the defense attorneys, and she sent a message. I have a lot going on. I have a child I care for. I have businesses, but I took time out of my day to come to this court hearing and send a message. Even if when I become First Lady, this is not going away. This is personal to me, and I'm going to fight this all the way to the end. It's a real power move. But as for all the other lawsuits that the Trumps have on their plate, we've seen the Trump administration start to look through that pile, settle some, and then they're going to have to decide what to do with all of these other lawsuits. But here it's clear from the First Lady-elect, this lawsuit, she is not going to settle it. It is not going away. And that was clear by the fact that she chose to show up to a small Maryland courthouse today and make an appearance during what was otherwise a very routine administrative hearing.
Fascinating stuff. Paula Reid breaking it down for us in Washington. Paula, thanks so much.